Hello and welcome back. As we have discussed that we are going to start this from absolute scratch. In this video, I would like to cover what is a variable and what is a need of data type, or you can say what is a need of learning data types, how important they are. To start with, whenever you have some data or information, and if you want to store that in your program, in your application, variable concept comes into picture irrespective of a programming language. For an instance, I have 18 and maybe 18 is a age of a person. This is some information. It is a data. If you want to work with this data or if you want to store that in your program, the concept of variable comes into picture. I will put here semicolon, that means delimiter. That is the end of it. This 18 assigned to a variable by the name age. This is a name of a variable. This is the assignment operator. That means 18, please give it to a variable by the name age. So behind the scene on your memory, when your program is executing on your RAM, for age memory would be given, and inside this age variable 18 will be assigned. Making sense? Maybe you want to store some number. Whatever variable name you want, you can give. I will give the variable name as num1. You can give number, whatever name. Few of the participants, especially from the third or second tier engineering colleges from non-CSIS background, even if they have phobia with the variable names, which I have come across with my experience. I have been training the candidates from 2016. It's been 8+ years of me training Java, programming, DSA or Spring Boot or any of this concept to the professionals. I have come across people with the phobia with the variable names such as temp, count. They consider these names also of something high sort. No, this is just a name. Num is just a name. Inside this variable, I am going to assign one value called as 4. The moment you say this, 4 will be assigned inside a memory which is getting created. And name of the memory is num, which you have told. Inside this 4 has been assigned. Whenever you want to use this data, you need not to say 4. Maybe you want to print something on your screen. I will say here, print whatever is there inside this variable called as num. Right? How to print in different programming languages, we will talk on that. For an instance, I'm using this. If you want to use this data, use this variable. For an example, I have one more variable. This is num1. I have one more variable by the name num2. I have given it as 6. 6 has been assigned. There is one more memory on your computer which is by the name num2. 6 has been assigned. Maybe I want to perform some operation on these two datas. I need not to take this data or consider this data. What I can do is I will say here num1 plus num2. That means I am referring to what data is there inside this variable. Please add with whatever data we have inside this variable, and whatever is the total result I will get, store that in maybe one more variable by the name result. And whatever this variable names are there, maybe going forward I'll talk in my Java series also. Whatever name you want you can give, except reserve words. What is reserve word? What name we can give? We will talk on this. Give a name which is relevant to the data which you are storing. Give a relevant name, whatever it could be. You can give your girlfriend name, you can give your boyfriend name, you can give your crush name, not a problem. But give a name which has some meaning to it. Example, num1, number 1. That means what data is there inside this? 4 we have. Plus what data we have inside num2 variable? We have 6. What is the total result? 10. 10 we are assigning back to this. So this variable name I have given result. On your memory, there will be one more variable which gets created, results, and inside this 10 will be assigned. So variable is all about storing the information in your program, in your application, program. Both of them are referring to same. So variable is all about storing the data, storing the information. Now when it comes to programming languages, there are two major types of programming languages. Number 1 happens to be statically typed programming language, or you can also call this as strongly typed programming language. statically typed programming language. Both of them are referring to same. One more, we have something called as dynamically typed programming language, or you can say loosely typed programming language. So we have two types of programming languages. Let me just key point here. Let me add that here. As you can see on your screen, statically typed, you can also call it as strongly typed. That is also fine. Multiple names, but meaning is same. Strongly typed programming language or weakly typed programming language, dynamically typed programming language. You need to understand this. Suppose I have a data, I want to store someone's age in my program. Whatever program I'm going to write, I want to store some information, for which I will create one variable. Whatever name of the variable you want, you can give. Since I have a plan of storing someone's age, the relevant name of the variable would be age. I have given here. To this age, I am going to assign one data. Maybe the data is 18. Fine. Same goes with, maybe I'm using one more programming language. There also I want to store a data which is 18, someone's age. I'll give the variable name 18. Behind the scene, one memory by the name age would be created. Equal to operator in any programming language, it is the assignment operator. Assignment means whatever is there in the right side, that will be assigned to the left hand side. So inside this age, 18 would be assigned. Fine. So there are certain programming language, whenever you are working with some data, whether you want to store the data or whether you want to perform some operations, type of the data which you are working on, the domain of the data which you are working on, you need not to specify. Such programming languages, we call it as dynamically typed programming languages, where type of the data you need not to specify explicitly. What data you are working on, what operations you are performing, you need not to specify. There are programming languages wherein whenever you store some data, or if you want to perform some of the operations on the data, type of the data is must. For an instance, I am going to store 18 to this variable age. Inside this age variable, what type of data I am going to store, that I need to specify must and should. For an instance, here it is number. Number means most of the programming language, we have a data type called as int. About the data types, moving forward, again I am going to come up with one more video on data types, which you will get the idea about data types in Java. For now, int means you are going to store number. Now type of the data you have to specify must and should whenever you are working with. Right now I want to store 18 in my age. And if I am going to use any of these strongly typed programming language, for you it is compulsory to specify what is the type of the data. Such programming languages, you can also call it as statically typed programming language, or you can say strongly typed programming languages. Example for all of such languages are C, C++, in fact your Java also, TypeScript, and so and so. When it comes to dynamically programming languages, we have Python, which is a dynamically typed programming language. We have JavaScript also, which is our dynamically typed programming language. Type of the data you need not to specify explicitly. Now, since this entire series we are going to do in Java, for us it is mandatory to learn about data types, because whenever we are going to work with some data using a Java language, which is a strongly typed programming language, type of the data also we may have to learn. What type of data also it decides. Example, if I just have to say here, maybe integer types of number 1, I'm going to give here as 4. That means behind the scene on your memory, number 1 variable memory would be created. Inside this assignment, right to left, I have given it as 4. Similarly, I want to store 5 here, which I am going to store in a variable by the name num2. What is the type of data I have to specify? Since I am using Java, the type of data is int number, right? So now one more memory will be created by the name num2. Inside this, you are going to assign 5. 5 is being assigned here. Fine. So this type of the data, domain, what domain this data is all about. What is the type of the data? So this is the concept of data types. That means type of the data, which is very, very crucial. So before we go ahead in this series, we need to understand about data types also. Why? Because we are going to use a strongly typed programming language, which is Java. And since Java is strongly typed programming language, we have to learn about data types. We cannot create a variables or we cannot perform any of the operation without specifying the type of the data. For an instance, I have specified that this is of integer type. It is not just about storing the data. It also defines for number 2 whatever data is available inside a variable called as num2, whatever data is available on the variable called as num1. On this, what type of operations we can perform, that also gives the meaning that what type of operation also you can perform on a particular data. That's where we need to understand on the concept of data types. Now let's understand what are data types in the upcoming video. Make sure you like the video, you share with your friends, and please do subscribe this YouTube channel. Also, if you want, you can connect me on my LinkedIn. You can just search Haider Abbas on the LinkedIn. You will get my profile. You can connect me there. Thank you so much for being with me in this video. We will meet again in the new video.